Hello everyone and welcome to IMRT Reviews. I'm RT and today we are talking about my top 10 DC movies of all time, including Zack Snyder's Justice League, because it only seemed right to do a list after watching that incredible film. So, let's get straight into it. So, my pick for number 10 is Shazam! See, if I had been chosen, I would have transformed into Shazam, but I wasn't chosen. And now I'm just sad. Heavy sigh. But yes, Shazam is a really, really, really good film. It's a lot of fun, which, is the most important thing when you're watching a film. Are you having fun? And there's tons of fun to be had in this, along with a lot of heart. Because the core story of trying to fit in is something I think a lot of people can relate to. So, we're all just trying to fit in this big world. And Zachary Levi in the lead role, he was one of the Warriors 3 in Thor the Dark World, and now he's in the lead role in a DCEU movie, which is awesome. He does a tremendous job at being a superhero and bringing the comedy at the same time. He's great. I loved him. There are a few issues with the film. Tonally, it's a bit weird. Like, 1 minute, you're watching the 7 Deadly Sins slaughter a load of people. It's quite horror-y. And then this next minute, you're laughing at someone doing like a Fortnite dance, and you're just like, okay, sure, why not? And the 7 Deadly Sins CGI is so bad, it actually hurt my eyes. Like, it is awful. So yeah, they're the only issues I have with the film. It would be a lot higher up in the rankings if it was a bit more tonally consistent and the CGI wasn't so laughable. So that is my pick for number 10. So my choice for number 9 is Wonder Woman. Now this film is so close to being great. I like this film so much, I bought the weird book version. It was like £2 more than a normal Blu-ray. £2 more. Jeez! But yeah, it's so close to being perfect. The first 2 acts are sublime. The third act it lets it down massively. It's just a generic villain with generic normal action, and the villain himself isn't very great, and he doesn't look very great with, once again, bad CGI. I don't know what's with DC films and not very good CGI, but it's there again. But this film does have No Man's Land scene. Incredible score, incredible moment when Wonder Woman walks out onto No Man's Land with her shield, deflecting bullets. The people don't think to shoot her feet, but we'll look past that. It's an incredible, incredible moment. One of the greatest moments in film history. I love it. I love it so much. There was man tears. Genuine man tears. And the chemistry between Gal Gadot and Chris Pine is brilliant. And Chris Pine cements himself as one of the best Chris's. My order of Chris's will always jumble about, depending on what film I just watched. If I just watched Guardians of the Galaxy, it'll be Chris Pratt. If I just watched Thor, it will be Chris Hemsworth. But yeah, Chris Pine, Gal Gadot make this film very special, and it has some incredible moments in it. If you haven't seen it, which you probably have, check it out. So my pick for number 8 is Birds of Prey, and I can't remember the rest of the name. And the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harlequin. Great name. Very great name. And this film, in my opinion, is criminally underrated. Why? Because it has some of the best action scenes I've seen in a superhero movie ever. The hand-to-hand combat scenes are up there with John Wick, partly because Margot Robbie does a lot of the stunts herself, which people like John Bernthal, Keanu Reeves, Tom Cruise get a lot of praise for. She deserves that same praise. She's so good in this film. And the R rating is so good for this film because you hear every single bone crack under a baseball bat and stuff like that. And the cinematography. It's sublime. Beautiful, beautiful wide shots where you can see all the action, and most importantly, no shaky cam. I hate shaky cam. Shaky cam ruins action. No more shaky cam, please, Hollywood. No more. So yeah, this film is incredible for his action. It has a great story. The villain, while not great, Ewan McGregor is super over the top which is really, 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 really fun to watch when you're a massive Ewan McGregor fan, like me. And Amy Elizabeth Winstead is Huntress, and she is epic. She's like a female Punisher. I didn't know about the character from the comics. I want to read more about her now. The film got me wanting to find out more, and I hope she's in more. I hope we get a TV show of her, because she's so, so cool. If you haven't seen the film, check it out, because I want a sequel. Do it. Do it. So my choice for number 7 is Finding Nemo. No, Aquaman. Aquaman is a lot of fun. It's one of those movies where you sit around and you're like, I just don't know what to watch. You think, you know what, I kind of just want to have fun tonight. You stick on Aquaman, because it's always going to be a fun time. Jason Momoa is so likable as his character. He's just brilliant. Everything he says is gold. In Zack Snyder's Justice League, when he goes, "My man," just epic. Thank you, Zack Snyder, for casting him. Thank you. And James Wan, who is one of my favourite horror directors, who's directed The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2, Insidious franchise as well. He done a great job at the large-scale action scenes in this film. There's sharks swimming around with people riding them and stuff like that. It's crazy, and it's crazy fun. If you haven't seen it, watch it, because you're guaranteed a great time. So this is when we get to some of my favourite films of all time. My pick for number 6 is Batman vs Superman Ultimate Edition. Because that's the only way you should watch this movie. Because it makes it 10 times better. Yeah, even though I enjoyed the other one, this makes it a lot better. Now, when I sat down in the cinema and I saw Zod's attack from Bruce's perspective, I knew this was going to be a good film. Straight away. And then you go into the unbelievably well shot, another take on Wayne's parents' death, but the Zack Snyder slow-mo made it cool and different. With his mother's pearls falling and the M1911 shot. It was just amazing. It was really, really breathtaking. And the score from Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL. It's one of my favourite scores of all time. I still listen to it to this day. And the song A Beautiful Lie. In my head, I just kept thinking about scenes that I wanted to put that in. It's such a good song. But yeah, this film, I was always a bit iffy about Batfleck. This film made me love him. It has some of the best Batman action scenes of all time. Probably better than any Nolan Batman scene, but action-wise. Because he's brutal. You feel every punch. You hear every punch. He's got knives going to people's chests. You've got skulls getting battered. He doesn't care. He's a worn-torn old Batman. And he's just out for people. And he has some of the greatest Batman lines of all time. I mean, telling a god, "Do you bleed?" Well, asking a god will never not be cool. He's there, no kryptonite, no suit, and just asked him that. That is a cool Batman. And Henry Cavill in this film. Henry Cavill's just great in every film. I like Henry Cavill a lot. And he's not the only other great character in this film. We got Wonder Woman. And she comes down with a shield, and you got that incredible score once again from Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL. And I was like, whoa, in the cinema, because it was epic. Doomsday is a little bit meh, but he's still pretty scary. I mean, he should have died like 4 times, and obviously he just absorbs it and gets stronger. Very scary stuff. And then Superman's death at the end, it hit me. I know what's going to happen later films, but it hit me. And it's just a great film. If you haven't seen the Ultimate Edition and you didn't like the normal one, watch it, because it does plug in a lot of the holes, the plot holes. But it is one of my favourite superhero films of all time, and one of my favourite Zack Snyder movies. And it's what made me really, really like him as a director. So yeah, if you haven't seen the Ultimate Edition, make sure to check it out. It's time to talk about one of the greatest directors of all time, and a film that changed the cinematic landscape forever. So my number 5 pick is Batman Begins. Now, Batman Begins is everything right about Hollywood, where they give us something new. You know, we've had Batman Begins, we've had Michael Keaton's Batman, we've had Batman and Robin, that kind of scarred the Batman name, and Christopher Nolan came in and gave us a new, refreshing take on the character, which is something we should all applaud, because it's what we need. Obviously, that's not what happened. Everyone tried to copy this film afterwards with dark and gritty stories of all different kinds after. But the point is, we got something new, and it was spectacular. Christian Bale, I've got to return some videotapes. Great, great actor. Perfect choice for Batman. He was brilliant. Michael Caine will forever and always be my Alfred. He's just so good. His voice is so relaxing. And then you've got Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul, the leader of the League of Shadows. Just perfect castings, really is. And Cillian Murphy, very underrated as a Scarecrow. I really like him. I mean, Batman, you really gotta lighten up, as he sets Batman on fire. So epic. And you got an incredible Hans Zimmer score on top of all this. It was just a great, great film, and one of the greatest origin story films of all time. And I'd say, if you haven't seen it, go and see it. But you've definitely seen it. Who hasn't seen it? So yeah, that is my number 5 pick on this list. So my number 4 pick actually inspired this video idea, as it is Zack Snyder's Justice League. This film, I'm not going to talk about too much, as I've already done a review of it on the channel. So if you haven't seen that, please do check it out. But the film did surpass all expectations for me. It delivered a scene that I've always wanted to see on the big screen with the Flash, and I'll forever be grateful for that. And Zack Snyder will forever be cemented, to me at least, as a genius. So do check it out. Hopefully the Snyderverse continues and we get to see more epicness from his world for Darkseid. So my number 3 pick is probably going to be the most controversial, as it is Man of Steel. This is Zack Snyder's first DCEU movie. I mean, just look how cool that is. But you're going to see a trend here as to things I like. It's a refreshing new take and an already well-established character. I just like new takes on characters, and this is completely different from the originals and takes Clark to places that we've never seen before, which should be applauded, because if you keep putting out the same stuff, the market gets stagnant and people get bored. So I'm really grateful for this film existing, and hope we get a Man of Steel 2 one day. But I'm happy with what we got, because it's epic. But yeah, Zack Snyder delivers unbelievable visuals, of course, with the first scene on Krypton with Russell Crowe flying around to the attack with General Zod on planet Earth, who, by the way, is played brilliantly by Michael Shannon. If you haven't seen Kangaroo Jack, check it out, because he's in that as well, and it's just a really funny film. That's kind of terrible, but funny at the same time. There's a singing kangaroo in it. Watch it. But yeah, that's why Man of Steel is my number 3 pick. It's just epic on a grand scale, with a character that is taken to new places that I really enjoyed. Now down to my final 2 picks. And my number 2 choice is The Dark Knight Rises. Now, I remember leaving the cinema and thinking only one thing. What did Tom Hardy say that entire movie? Because the cinema speakers were extremely bad and I had no idea. But after rewatching it, I understood, and I decided he's one of my favourite villains of all time. He's menacing, ferocious, and he beats Batman. Literally breaks his spine on his leg. Epic. And I would try and do an impression of Bane, but to be honest, I suck. It wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good. As much as I tell myself it's good, it's not good. But this film is a perfect conclusion to a perfect trilogy. Seeing Batman die a hero was just poetic cinema, as George Lucas would say. And seeing Alfred at the end just cheers him as he finally sees what he's always wanted in Bruce's life, which is family. And it doesn't get much better than that. It is a perfect film, a perfect trilogy, and that leads me into my number 1 pick. And my number 1 pick for best DC movie is, do you know how I got these scars? The Dark Knight. Now, we all know it's got Heath Ledger's Joker in it, and it is the greatest comic book performance of all time. There's nothing I can say about this performance that hasn't already been said in the 18,000 analysis videos on his character on YouTube. So I'm not going to dive into it too much, but I am going to voice my appreciation for it because it is incredible. Every single scene has me on the edge of my seat. Every single scene has me wanting more. Every single scene just has me jaw dropped. All the lines are so quotable. I'm a man of my word. So quotable. Him just sitting there and just clapping. Incredible. Every single scene with him is incredible. Every single scene in this movie is incredible. With Batman, Alfred too. But the main man is Heath Ledger as the Joker. And that's why this film is so special. Because of that performance. Now, that is my top 10 DC movies of all time. So that was my top 10 DC movies of all time list. I feel like my number one pick was pretty obvious, as it's most people's favourite. That's why I didn't deep dive into it too much. Maybe I will in a future review, who knows. But if you have any lists of your own or any favourite DC movies, please do let me know in the comments below. I really want to read them. And if you did like today's video, please like and subscribe for Dark Side. And I'll see you next time.